Hey, welcome to Operation Fishing Freedom. I'm Ben Olson. Join us today as we treat U.S. Marine veteran James Turner to a day of fishing here on beautiful Lake Minnetonka.
Military veterans protect our great nation. Pro angler Jay Garstecki made it his duty to honor our heroes. He wants to share soldier stories. The perfect place to carry out this mission? A fishing boat. Get ready to launch Operation Fishing Freedom. Brought to you by Great Clips.
Morning, James.
Morning, Ben.
Feeling good? You ready for some fishing?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's get after it.
A couple of buddies out for a little fishing together. Yeah, sure. But this is more than a fishing trip for James Turner. A lot more.
So what we're gonna do here is just catch a whole bunch of fish to get us started. Hopefully we'll do a little bit of that. We'll catch some sunnies and maybe a bass or two here just to get warmed up and get a feel for it. So who took you fishing when you were a kid?
My great-grandfather and my father.
Were they fishermen or just?
My great-grandfather was, yeah, he fished a lot, yeah, in his spare time.
It's been a while since James operated a fishing reel. So Ben, forever the helpful fishing guide, offered a quick refresher.
Grab that line with your finger, open that, and now this becomes your Snoopy pull button. So now you just throw it, take your finger off. When it lands, just close that, reel up the slack a little bit. Perfect. Reel up when that bobber goes down, just reel up till it's tight. Give it a little jerk, a little hook set.
One more cast, and the fishing rust was off.
There you go. Nice.
Oh, okay, buddy.
The old sunfish.
And then another.
Hey, buddy.
Even for me, I don't care. It's fun to catch them just one after another.
Hey, it looks like they found a hot
Oh,
spot.
there's a nice one.
Woo!
That's a big one. Keep them down in the water and I'll grab it with my thumb. Bring them right over here. Oh. Nice. There you go. That's a nice one, man.
Also looks like James has all the luck.
Nice job.
Well, yes and no.
I signed up for the Marine Corps in 2001, same like the day of 9/11. I got home from school and I was just like, yeah, I want to fight, I want to go, you know. That's the pride I had for my country, the love I have for my country, you know, especially with my mom having served and family members and grandfathers that have served.
Just one problem. James was only 13 years old.
So I signed up, and then I got the stuff in the mail about a week or two later, and they told me I was too young. And so I was like, okay, I understand, I'm too young. And so that kind of just went on the back burner.
But not for long. Near the end of high school,
So I made the choice to join the Marine Corps, not only for my country, but then at this time, for my family as well. And so it was almost like a 1-2 punch. It made sense. Ultimately, it was like, okay, well, here's my calling. This is really what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, the option is here for me to go play football, but it wasn't even really a second thought, you know. It was just kind of like, all right, well, yeah, for sure, you know. Like, I signed up for it and I was willing, and I still am, and I still, you know, those convictions are still true to this day.
Operation Fishing Freedom. Brought to you by Great Clips, Yachts Valor Foundation, and by Take a Vet Fishing.
yes, James was gung-ho to join the Marines and defend his country, but he had other reasons as well.
And I guess it was a young man's decision. Either go to college, further my education, play football, but know that I wouldn't really have a home to come home to. My mom and my dad did the best that they could, dealing with everything that they were dealing with as well. My older brother, he had his own set of issues. He ended up, or he's actually right now, in prison for life. So it was pretty tough on that end, knowing that there's this sibling that I never really get to know, or a part of me that I never really get to understand. And same thing with my older sister. Once she ran away, we didn't really communicate or reunite until well into the Marine Corps. Aside from that, life was great. I played sports growing up. I touched on almost every sport. I played soccer, baseball, football, volleyball. Yeah, life was good. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of things that I had to deal with, but I never really let that hold me down. Like, one thing my mom always said is, you kill them with kindness, and you don't let your color hold you down or hold you back. If anything, you see the world as it is. You see it in color, but you don't see color.
Fishing teaches that lesson.
There's a nice one. There's a nice one.
Oh, hello.
The fish don't know who's at the other end of the line.
Swing it over here.
And nobody knows what life has in store in a fishing boat, or when you join the Marines.
My mom, having been in for 23 years and having had retired, she also knew the hardships that I would come across while in service, and just like any parent, they want to protect their child. But they supported me through everything, and she cried every time I came home and every time I left. So, but that always felt nice. It always let me know that I was doing something that she was proud of.
And it was off to infantry school.
Graduated boot camp. I graduated that actually with honors. So I chose machine gunner. One of the instructors, he comes out and he just holds up 2 bullets. That's all he does. And he's like, "This is the biggest round you'll ever shoot as a 0311, which is like a ground and pound." And then he holds up a 50 cal bullet. He's like, "This is a bullet you get to shoot as a machine gunner." He's like, "The choice is yours." And I was just like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I was like, I like that size of that bullet. That's pretty awesome.
Soon, James was assigned to a MEU, a Marine Expeditionary Unit on a naval ship.
We went to Jordan and we trained with the Jordanian army and taught them some tactics and things of that nature. When we were in Kuwait, we just did some patrolling. But it was very interesting because it was the first time I had ever been in extremely hot climate.
Little did he know it was going to get hotter. Next deployment, Afghanistan. James volunteered.
I signed up to do my part, and I wasn't going to let anything stop me from doing that. Our job over there was to train the Afghani locals into becoming police for their province. Basic tactics on being a police officer, basic tactics on how to even shoot weapons, because most of them have never shot a gun before in their life. We were over there really to win the hearts and minds of the locals and to really show them that we're there to help them, as much as we hope that they saw that we were also willing to help them. And a lot of the people there appreciated us for being there and actually helping them and giving them that sense of security.
He soon learned that some Afghan locals saw him as the enemy.
That's when training for me became hard, because I knew that then the tactics that I was teaching them could very well easily be turned around and used against us. There were firefights. We took fire. But like I said, we were over there to win the hearts and minds.
Always the question, which hearts and which minds were winnable?
I see shots coming from this way towards the police station. So So I'm just kind of like standing back like, okay, so do I just watch this until it's over? And I was, you know, sighted in and ready to do what I needed to do if it came to that. But next thing I know, the British Sergeant Major standing next to me, and he's like, don't engage, you know, unless they turn and shoot at us, we don't know really who is who or what's going on out there. So yeah, that was a bit difficult because it didn't happen just once. There was a handful of times that situations like that happened. We would get reports of vehicles sitting in certain areas and it looked like the back half of the car was sagging a little bit. So we would go out on patrol and take pictures and stuff like this. Times like that even became really hard because, you know, the kids or young boys would come out and, you know, they're either, you know, giving you a thumbs up or flipping you off and throwing rocks and tomatoes and all this other stuff, you know. So it's like, you know, you got people throwing rocks and you're trying to just be calm and all this other stuff. But, you know, when you get somebody sprinting from around a corner and you see a hand, you know, you don't know if it's a rock or something else. So, you know, you're just always on alert.
On alert? Friend or foe? Don't do anything wrong. Don't do.
Something that could end up bringing down a lot more heat than is absolutely necessary.
Operation Fishing Freedom, brought to you by Great Clips, Optima Batteries, and by Recon Boats.
If you're a U.S. military veteran living in Illinois, Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, or Minnesota, log on to takeavetfishing.org and look for an event near you.
Fishing this day on Lake Minnetonka, making a cast or two.
Oh, damn, whatever it was, got away.
No mystery now. But over there, Afghanistan, the memories linger. James, the gung-ho Marine, found himself in a war that was not in the training manual.
They never once said, we're training you to fight the hearts and minds, you know. You know, we were trained to win wars and to win battles and fights. So, yeah, it was very hard. It was very confusing. There was a lot of times where at the end of the day, after a patrol or whatever, a firefight that I watched happen, you know, I would be back in the tent and I would just be like, what am I doing here? You know, like, am I just here to watch, or, you know, what is our real job? You know, it was very hard.
For James, the questions with no answers began to weigh heavily on his mind.
Because, yeah, I don't know how you win a war of hearts and minds when they're using bullets and IEDs. Especially once, you know, we started taking fire and I had shots, you know, rounds fly over my head. I look at my life under a high-powered magnifying glass or telescope. I guess everything's always 20/20 in hindsight, but I guess it always just brings me back to this question that I always ask. It's like, even with like all the horrible things that I have done, it's like, how am I to know that what I'm doing is actually right? As I go forward with that, I have to realize that, you know, I've walked a different life that a lot of other people never will have to, or couldn't even imagine trying to dream about.
Do you ever ride in helicopters?
Yeah. Never got to ride like right on the edge on the door, you know, but yeah, I definitely love going up in the birds.
Was the machine gunner seat a cool spot or not really?
On the trucks and the turret, yeah, that's the best spot to be. Yeah.
You got good views and everything?
Exactly.
Yeah. And you're sitting up high?
You know, you're just, it's your own world, you see it all.
Yeah. There's supposed to be some fairly scenic parts of Afghanistan, yeah?
There are, I mean, the land, I mean, the mountains, the landscape, I have plenty of pictures of that. It's really beautiful. Yeah, I mean, if you take in the nature for what it is, yeah, it was really nice.
On Lake Minnetonka, here's what's really nice.
Yeah.
Hey.
You're making me look bad.
It's all you.
Go ahead and open that.
Yeah, number 2.
Hold on, flip it over. Thanks for telling us about your experiences. We got a couple little gifts for you here. From Angry Bear Rods, has your name on there in appreciation of your service and sacrifice. Right here, James Turner. And then we got your very own Operation Fishing Freedom jersey. Got your name on there.
This is awesome. Well, appreciate it, Ben. Really, I do. Thank you, sir.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming
a
out
lot.
today.
Thank
Thanks
you
for everything. Thanks for your service.
Thank you.
Thank your mom for her service.
I will. I
I
will
appreciate
indeed.
it.
Thank you.
If you'd like to nominate a vet to see in a future episode, please log on to our website, operationfishingfreedom.com, click on the nominate button, and tell us a little bit about the veteran that you'd like to see in an upcoming episode.
Operation Fishing Freedom is brought to you by the Sparta Project, fishwithme.net, and by Temple Bay Lodge.
As James Turner sits in the fishing boat with guide Ben Olson, he looks for answers to his questions about life.
I guess I try to just take it one step at a time and not look too far forward with the things that I do.
When his military career ended, James thought his troubled thoughts were over.
Little did I know that wasn't the end of my journey. It was just a new chapter. And so, yeah, I got out and I attended school down in Winona for a year. That was pretty interesting, and it was also pretty rough in the same sense because I was dealing with a lot of demons. Didn't sleep much at all, like maybe 3-4 hours a night. Yeah, so I was dealing with a lot.
Too much. James dropped out of school, moved back to the Twin Cities, and wandered job to job, all while sleeping on the floor of an empty apartment.
That's when, I don't know, life was probably the hardest for me around that time. I felt like I was alone, and it was really hard for me to have this sense of aloneness, knowing that I went from, growing up and I had all these friends and people that I could talk to, and then the Marine Corps, and I had my brotherhood, and then all of a sudden now I'm alone. And I had no one to talk to. I had no one I could turn to. And I hit rock bottom. I was home one day and I was just contemplating ending it, like my life. It was just rough. And something like just small voice just came over me, like I was just like, God, why? Why would you put me through all of this?
By happenstance, a Koran was on the table next to him. He read a few lines.
So then I was like, okay, well, let me pick up a Bible. So I picked up a Bible and I opened that up, and it pretty much just confirmed everything that I just read in this other book. And I was just like, what is going on here? And I just broke down and started crying. And it was at that point that I realized that I really needed a lot more help than I was letting on.
James reached out. He called his mom. Then he called his dad.
They started stopping by randomly, just to see how I was doing and holding up, and invite me over for Sunday dinners and stuff like that. So things kind of started changing, and I started reaching out for help at the VA. I ended up getting a dog. She's really helped me stay focused and see life in a new light. When the depression was bad, I always had her right there, no matter how bad it got.
For the first time, James heard of veterans organizations like the VFW, and he realized he carried a load of anger.
I was just angry about a lot of things. A lot of things that had happened while I was in service, brothers that I had lost, the way I was treated by family and friends when I got back, the way I was treated by those that said they loved me and cared for me. And knowing that I'd lost brothers and sisters to a war that we were fighting, and when people were back over here and it didn't really even seem like they cared, or their actions didn't show that they cared. Yeah, it was just hard. It was really hard for me, and I thought I was crazy.
Today, James has no crazy thoughts. He hangs out with the other vets. He trains in martial arts. He joined the Sparta Project.
It just feels like things are on a much better path for me now that I have all these tools or weapons in my arsenal to help prepare me every single day, because every single day is a battle.
But one Marine who no longer has a voice is James' brother.
Without the help, he did what a lot of other Marines tend to do, and that's self-medicate. And he tried holding it together as best as he could. I know he was doing some construction work, but ultimately he ended up taking his life. You just need help. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no ways around it. You go to war, you need help. Maybe it's not talking. Maybe you just need to be around people. Maybe you just need to find some people you can go fishing with or hunting with. Or if I take my dog outside on a run, it's like, well, at least I didn't not do anything, or at least I didn't do what I've done before and turn to the bottle or something like that. Yeah, I would say I'm in a better place. But I've also learned that it's okay to, be okay.
We'd like to thank James Turner for sharing his amazing stories and a great day in the boat. Remember, support your local American Legions and VFWs. They support our veterans. Thanks for watching.